All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about what might be the biggest AI drop of the year, OpenAI's brand new GPT-5. And look, this isn't just a small tweak or another update. This is a massive leap forward that's really going to redefine how we all use AI, basically putting an expert on any topic you can imagine right in your pocket.
And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman pretty much says it all. He's not just talking about a smarter chatbot here. The whole idea is that you now have on-demand access to someone with PhD-level knowledge in, well, anything. Think about that for a second. To really get a feel for this jump, this comparison helps a lot. If GPT-3 was like a smart high school student, had its brilliant moments but could also be kind of frustrating, and GPT-4o was more like a really capable college student, then GPT-5, it's just in a totally different league. We're not talking about general knowledge anymore. We're talking deep, specialized expertise.
But hey, cock is cheap, right? What does having a PhD expert in your pocket actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's move from these big claims to some actual concrete proof. Okay, so check this out. In one of the demos that just blew my mind, a user asks for a quick physics refresher. Simple enough, but then they ask for something way harder, a visual, moving demo of the Bernoulli effect. GPT-5 actually takes a moment, you can see it thinking, and then it just spits out almost 400 lines of code. The result? In just 2 minutes, a completely interactive physics simulation that you can actually use and learn from.
And here's the crazy part. The person giving the demo said that building something similar for the original ChatGPT launch took her an entire week of coding. GPT-5 did the same quality of work in 2 minutes. That isn't just a little bit faster. That is a total game changer for how things get made.
And this idea of software on demand just kept coming up. In another demo, a user described a personalized French learning app they wanted for their partner. They asked for flashcards, quizzes, even a little game. And bam! In just a few minutes, GPT-5 built a complex, fully functional, and honestly, a really beautiful web app, all from a single conversation.
Now, the demos are really cool to watch, but what about the hard data? Well, it's just as impressive. On this benchmark called SW Bench, which is designed to test how well an AI can fix real-world coding bugs from platforms like GitHub, GPT-5 just smashes the old record, setting a new state-of-the-art.
And it's not just a coding genius. On another test, the MMU benchmark, which covers all sorts of college-level subjects and reasoning problems, GPT-5 again sets a new high score. And here's where it gets wild. It's not just better than other AIs, it's now performing better than most human experts in these fields.
So, okay, we've established it's incredibly powerful, which brings us to probably the most important question on your mind right now. After seeing all that, how can I actually get my hands on this thing? And this, for me, was the biggest bombshell of the whole announcement. GPT-5 is starting to roll out today. And for the first time ever, OpenAI is making their absolute best, most advanced model available to free users. That is a huge deal for making top-tier AI accessible to everyone.
All right, so here's the breakdown of how you can get access. If you're a free user, you get to use the full GPT-5, but with some usage limits. After you hit them, you'll switch over to a smaller, but still very capable model. If you're a paying Plus or Pro user, you get way higher usage limits and access to something they're calling Pro Extended Thinking. And then, of course, team and enterprise accounts get really generous access for their whole company or school. Now, putting this much power out there and making it so easy to access naturally brings up a couple of really important questions. First, what's in it for developers? And second, how in the world is OpenAI making sure this is all done safely? It's all about building on a foundation of trust.
For all the builders out there, the upgrades are huge. You're getting 3 new API models, GPT-5, a Mini, and a Nano, so you can pick the right tool for the job, balancing power and cost. They've also added new controls, like being able to adjust how much effort the model puts into reasoning, a much bigger memory or context window, and better custom tools. It all just makes it easier to build really cool, reliable stuff. And of course, with all this incredible new power comes a huge responsibility to be safe. That's why OpenAI didn't just tweak their old safety rules. They've completely rethought their approach, moving away from the simple, kind of clunky system they had before. This is a really important shift. You see, older models had a pretty binary choice. They would either do exactly what you asked, or
They'd hit a wall and just refuse with a generic, "I can't help with that." GPT-5 is much more nuanced. They call it safe completion. The goal is to be as helpful as possible within the safety rules instead of just saying no all the time.
So, we've seen the power. We've looked at the data. We've touched on the safety. Let's bring this all home. What does having a tool like this really mean for you? For your work, for your hobbies, for the way you learn things?
You know, I think this quote from Caroline Emilian, who got to test it early, just nails it. She used it to help understand a complex health issue. And she said it wasn't just a search engine spitting out facts, it felt more like a thought partner, something that helped her connect the dots and actually figure out how to navigate the problem itself.
And that right there is the big takeaway. The leap to GPT-5 isn't just about getting a smarter tool that gives you better answers. It's about getting a totally new kind of collaborator, a partner for your work, for your learning, and for your creativity.
So in the end, GPT-5 is here, and it's putting a tool of almost unimaginable power into the hands of millions. It's your on-demand team of experts, it's a tireless creative assistant, a true partner in thinking. So really, the only question left is the most exciting one. What will you build with